welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart, and I'm here by myself. I'm sure you noticed. Well, I'm not really alone, and you'll find out a little bit more about that later because Tym Moss is still in Paris, but he is coming back next week. But I've been getting into a lot of trouble by myself while I've been here this week because there's been so many things happening. And I have to give a shout out here to Mark Nadler, who's been on the show, who I went to see in the Christine Jorgensen show. Absolutely brilliant production at 59 East 59th Street. And, one of the things we love is we have all these wonderful guests come on the show. And a lot of the time we don't get to see them work. But in this case, Mark had come on the show and he told me all about how fabulous this play was. And yes, it was. And I just loved every minute of it. And while we're talking about upcoming shows, we are here at Pangea as always. And this weekend, Sunday, March 10th at 7 p.m., we have Diva Lamar with an impressive career that's brought to stages all over the country, even the high seas. I like that. I'll take high seas because that's cruises. Diva's proven herself not just to be a dynamic performer, but also a true star. So that's Sunday night here. And Darnell White, a native of Harlem, New York City. Darnell's a graduate of LaGuardia High School, Music and Art. Yes, that is a true New Yorker. And last but not least, the icing on the cake, the Juilliard School. A noted staple in the New York music scene, Darnell's developed a pristine reputation as a performer, composer, and musical director. So that's Sunday, March 10th at 7 p.m. So you know what? Like Tim has been out of town and I've just been doing things out of the box. So I went way out of the box. I went to like a political meeting in New York for our borough president, Mark Levine, who, by the way, is a very charismatic guy. For those of you who don't know him, who live in New York. But, I have to tell you, you guys all know I hit the nail on the head. I call my shots as I see them. And I'm a New York girl. I'm on the subways. I'm walking under scaffolding. I deal with crazy people. That's my life, right? So to hear him get up there and talk about how he's going to affect all of these things, I'm sorry. And all his compadres, they were all cheering, going, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a little bit hard for me to take because you know what? I'm living this. And quite frankly, we have so darn many things going on in New York that you have to address. I wouldn't even know where to start. And that's why we do this show. We do this show because it makes people happy. And I have all kinds of great guests that come on. Oh, fabulous movie that I saw, courtesy of formal invite from the Chelsea Film Festival. This film is not out yet. It will be shown at the Chelsea Film Festival this year. It's called Supernova. It's a very heavy film. It was shot on October 7th at the Nova Nature Festival in Israel. And the footage was shot by a lot of the kids themselves that survived. And there was also footage from the other side there. How these documentary filmmakers put this all together is beyond me. And 5 of the survivors, of course, were interviewed. One of them happens to be here from New York as well, and how she ran and ran and ran for 4 hours to get away from everything. I tell you something, we have such a varied palette here in New York. This film is one you want to catch. It's called Supernova, so make sure you get it. Now, I have a really special surprise for you, but I'm going to tell you something. I told you Tym Moss isn't here today, but that's not really true because I'm going to bring Tym Moss on right now, and he has something he wants to tell everybody. Take it away.
Bonjour, everyone. Hello. This is Tim, and I am in Paris. I am loving it. I love this city. I'm sorry I haven't been on the show in the past couple of weeks, but I have been in Paris and I love it. So, anyway, have a wonderful show, Wendy. I love you guys. I will see you next week. Okay. Enchanté and au revoir.
Well, there you go. Tim has been there, I think, 10 days. And as you can see, his French accent has not gotten any better. But I want to say bonjour to our very, very special guest today. breakfast at Tiffany's. How about breakfast at Dominique's? I mean, if you can't have coffee with your very favorite celebrity, how about drinking coffee that has the celebrity's own special blend? That's right. You have the amazing entrepreneur today, Dominique Benedict, to tell us why she came up with this brilliant idea of celebrity coffee, what makes it so unique, and why she does what she does. And she's coming to us all the way from Arkansas. Dominique.
Hi.
The show, I think I told you, you are the first person I have interviewed in Arkansas. So what do I know about Arkansas? There's a Walmart down there.
Mm-hmm. We're the very first Walmart. A lot of gangsters hung out here and hid from the authorities here.
See, this is why we do this show, everybody, because why Arkansas? Why were there so many gangsters there?
It was easy to pay off the cops.
In Arkansas, that is like really funny. Pay off the cops and shop at Walmart at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show. Your idea that you came up with, celebrity coffees, you and I are meeting for the first time. How did this idea of coffee beans germinate?
Like everybody, life stopped when the pandemic hit. I used to travel full time, and as you can imagine, going from traveling to being stuck in Arkansas isn't exactly the most appealing idea. And I was sitting at home just watching all these films, and when I started to look into the actors and kind of who made the films, there wasn't much to look at. There wasn't much to enjoy. And I realized beyond books and beyond the films themselves, there was no fun little memorabilia products that are out that people can collect and learn more and keep these legacies in the public and in your homes beyond when you put them on the screen. And it was always a running joke that coffee was kind of my retirement plan, because beyond music and photography, coffee was all I knew.
How did you, now you said you came from a travel background. Were you working in the travel industry?
I was in the music industry. I was a content creator for different artists, and
very cool.
I would help run meet and greets and VIP events and all the fun things like that. Merchandising.
You try different coffee, right? When you're in the entertainment industry on that level, you have to be up and bubbly, which you are normally. But I'm sure you got to savor a lot of different coffee.
Exactly. I don't eat meat and I don't eat fast food. And when you're on the road, that's all that's available. So I just get coffee everywhere I went. And it was kind of a running joke that I survived off coffee. So, and French fries aren't really a good market to join. So
no, they're not.
So coffee was it.
But you know what? Coffee is, so I'm also a coffee person. Hugely. I love trying different coffees. Don't hate me for what I'm going to tell you. My main staple of coffee, believe it or not, is the Walmart brand, the French roast.
I don't even judge that, because coffee is coffee. If you like it, you like it. I don't believe in that hierarchy of coffee.
Right. Thank you.
Specialty coffee, and we have everyday.
Right. So here you are, the pandemic hits, you can't travel, and this idea of coffee comes into your head.
Basically, I didn't have any knowledge of how to go about doing this. And I probably went about it the stupidest way possible, but I just called, I called the estates and said, I have this idea. I don't know how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do with it, but hear me out. And I'm extremely motivated to see it through. And luckily I had a few who said yes right away. And
this is amazing, Dominique, because you just started cold calling estates where coffee is made. Am I correct?
No, the estates for the legacies.
So you started with the legacies really before the coffee.
Mm-hmm. It took an entire year to convince my roaster, or to get my roaster fully on board. I blind tasted so many different coffee companies, all these brands, and none stood out like hers did. And it was a blind sample I didn't do my research on any roastery until after I tried them all. She was the only woman-owned roastery in the bunch. So I thought it was fate because obviously we're in a man's world where men run everything. And I love the idea of having a woman-owned roastery.
I love it.
Working with a woman-owned coffee company and just keeping women, like, it's Women's History Month, so it's a good time to talk about this.
That's exactly like keeping us moving and shaking. I'm just going to jump back because for those of us that don't know the coffee terminology, and this is so fascinating. So you had a roaster is where you, how did you find the roaster? Is there like a list? Like, can I go to Google and ask for coffee roasters?
I kind of just did my research and looked up all of the specialty coffee companies within the country because I wanted it to be U.S. based.
Okay.
I'm trying to support as many small businesses as I can in this endeavor. We work with, I mean, everybody, like she specifically works with small farms and she has woman-owned farms that she works with to source beans from. Like we kind of both share the same mindset where we want to work with small business, woman-owned business, and just kind of screw the corporations.
Dominique, I love you. You are on the right show. I mean, my God, yes, and yes, absolutely. But it's interesting to me because you had never done this before. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even the telling about it, you make it sound so easy, but it was a lot of cold calling. It had to be a lot of legwork.
The hardest part wasn't really getting people on board. I have a way with people where if you just smile really nice and ask nicely, things happen. But
Arkansas Southern charm and all at your feet, right?
Yeah. So, but the hardest part was dealing with trying to get loans, trying to get banks on board, trying to get an investor. I finally gave up and just funded the entire thing myself.
Wow. So you had to use your, as a person who uses their own seed money, sometimes to get the ball rolling, that is the only way. And you know what? You're not waiting for anyone else to give you the green light.
No, I opened like 5 different credit cards. I did it the worst way possible.
You did this on credit cards?
Yeah.
This is like amazing. So you did this on credit cards. Wow.
It was not the smartest decision, and it's fine because I got it here and it's here. So right. I got what I wanted, and the credit will pay itself back off soon.
How long did it from getting the roaster person that you connected with to then getting the celebrities to come on board? What are we looking at in a time frame to really launch this business?
I started brainstorming the month that the world shut down. I don't remember if it was 2019 or 2020 at this point.
It was 2020. I remember New York shut down March 12th, 2020, because I started a cooking show the next day. Similar. I was completely out of work. By the way, I don't cook, but that's a whole other thing. Go on, Dominique. Go on.
See, I remember getting a call that all of our work for the year was canceled and that we were to stay home and do nothing and kind of lost all our money. Oh, well, it happened. So the month that happened is when I started brainstorming it, and we launched late January of 2022.
Wow.
Yes, 2022. And I launched the week that I actually got the coffee in hand because I was ready to rock and roll. I was like, I approve. This is great. Let's get it out to the world. It's time. Because it's been a year, which is nothing in the terms of planning and doing all the things. But yeah, it was a very fast pace because I worked probably 16 hours a day every single day. Just
would have had to, right?
There was nothing else to do. So, right. And I don't really like sleeping. So
no, I'm sure you don't. You don't strike me as that kind of person. But you know what? To go ahead and launch something like this, the interest in coffee is interesting to me. I'm thinking of the places I've traveled a lot in the world, and the thing that turned me on, like Costa Rica's got amazing coffee. Africa, all of these places. Was this something like from when you were young that coffee interested you?
I was obsessed with Starbucks, not because it was like great coffee or anything, just because we lived in a town where the Starbucks was like 50 minutes to an hour away.
Wow.
And when you went into town to get your groceries, you stopped at Starbucks for a really nice coffee. And I was just excited. I loved the luxury of Starbucks, like that it was a treat. And I was like, well, that's where I'm going to work in high school. This is all I want to do. And I never did it, but I don't regret not doing it, because instead I got into concerts and traveled. And
no, it amazes me, because you come, if you were an hour really from anywhere, you really are from a rural area. And you know, but they say some children are born of the world, some children are born of the town. You're obviously born of the world, because you managed to get yourself a touring, you know, musical event gig where you were traveling all over. And then you go from that, again, you could have gone back to your small town and done whatever, but you didn't do anything small there either. You come up with, you know, a line of celebrity coffees. It's absolutely brilliant. What do you like about having celebrities represent your coffees?
It's more so for me a legacy preservation project.
That's important to you.
I find more inspiration in interesting people than anything. I don't really care about normal things in history, but I mean, I get everybody has their own niche of inspiration.
Of course.
But I find more inspiring than anything are people who found success in a time before the internet and found success in a world, like did something completely unique, like not just found success building, I don't know, I'm weird, but like people who basically took over the world and became known worldwide in a time where there was literally no phones is incredible to me. It
is incredible to me too, because we have to say, like, how did you become such a big personality when you didn't have the internet? Okay, there was no social media and you know, TV. I'm talking even before they had television. Like, how did these people do it? It really is something, and you obviously have a lot of respect for it too.
I do, and that's one thing all of the families have agreed on, is they kind of all said yes to the idea because I care, and because I'm not looking for like this money paycheck, like you're seeing these weird products with a certain blonde bombshell who's of course still huge, but you're seeing all these products with her name and face, and it's not genuine, it's not authentic, it's not trying to keep her name well preserved, it's just putting the name on something.
Right. And for you, it's about the authenticity. It's about the history, and it's about keeping the legacy alive. Show us what you have here.
We make sure to put about each legacy on the back of bags. We tell the story from inside the bag and out. So each coffee, we kind of captivate the icon through the origin, the flavor, etc. For example, I pulled Betty Davis because I like saying this little catchphrase, but the coffee did it the hard way, just like Betty Davis did. On her gravestone, it says she did it the hard way. This coffee is a monsooned Malabar, meaning the beans survived monsoon winds and rains and really did it the hard way.
That's right. And like Betty Davis, look what she, right, as a performer went through and everything. Like a kind of monsoon when you think about it.
Exactly. And we make sure to make logical pairings and to really tell the story of each legacy and their life and what they loved. We do good through most of the bags. The Betty Davis donates to her foundation. The Joan Crawford behind me, this dog one, Joan Crawford famously loved dogs and always had multiple around her. So we donate to a dog rescue that just does incredible work. I've done my research.
Pounds and pounds, right?
Yes.
I do want to, when we move on in the show, first of all, I want to shout out to everyone there. You know, Dominique has woven in non-for-profits that she feels her coffee can do good for, which is just a whole other beautiful component of what you're doing. So yeah, so you each coffee, you can bring them out. I want to hear about each celebrity, and I see they're all there behind you. Okay, who's next?
Well, I just pulled the women for Women's History Month.
Okay, cool.
Tons of inspiring ladies. The majority of our lineup is women. I handpick each legacy, and some people may not understand some, like Bozo the Clown. We have Bozo the Clown. Personally, I think there's so much inspiration to be found in Bozo, because the entire mantra and everything of Bozo was inspired by finding happiness, light, and laughter.
I love it.
That's all you really need to do your own thing and be successful and happy in life. And yeah, so I think he fits in perfectly. I've had a few people be like, why? But no.
We don't have Bozo the Clown for Women's History Month.
No. I pulled. So we got Kara Williams, who's a lesser known legacy.
Let's talk about her.
So basically, you might remember her from the 60s. She did Pete and Gladys, the TV show.
I do. Right.
And she also had a variety show, The Kara Williams Show. But she also was an Oscar-nominated actress in Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier's movie, The Defiant Ones. And she was married to the Barrymore family, John Barrymore, Drew Barrymore's father. And she really had a weird, eccentric life where she didn't really pursue acting beyond what she wanted to do. She really found, I don't know, she pursued whatever her interest was in the moment.
Right.
Gambling became an interest at one point, and she became a professional gambler and won a bunch of tournaments and such. She actually lost her friendship with Lucille Ball over gambling.
You know what I love, Dominique? You're sharing these little tidbits that she is a lesser known actress. I have an amazing friend who you should meet, John DeLeo. He is an expert on every classic Hollywood actress and actor. But more than that, he put out a book where he talks about people that were on screen for less than 5 minutes and who had these really quirky careers that you might not have heard of. I mean, by having the coffee for her, you just really took and you're shining a light on her. But talking to you, I think also the person's personality, if there's something quirky, you love that.
I do. I find more interesting the weird parts of people's lives.
Yeah.
Like Kara is the reason for the Doors, basically. Her husband, Asher Dan, was their first manager. Kara introduced Jim Morrison to Asher, and just like, wow. It's a weird, like, I went to go visit her daughter in January when I was in LA, and Justine, her daughter, just has like Asher's Doors gold record plaque just hanging in her living room. I'm like,
amazing.
What?
You're like, I can't even believe I'm here.
No, like classic rock is my jam. Like the Doors to me are like top 3 best musical acts of all time. And
you know what? I think your parents have raised somebody very enlightened. How did you? So I remember the Doors growing up. How did you know so much about the Doors?
My mom has a very good palette for music.
I would think so.
In my opinion, she would basically put on classic rock and say, "I'll give you $1 if you can name the song and the artist." Like while we were driving. Aerosmith has always been my top favorite musician, like band of all time. That was our first concert. She took me to see Aerosmith, and that kind of set it off for me. I was like, wow. I'm obsessed. I love the old rock and rollers. Like there's no better time in history than that era. Janis Joplin, all of those good little 60s.
Yeah, so you're making my wheels turn here. You have a plan to because really with what you're doing, the sky is the limit.
Exactly. And I've made it clear so many times, inspiration is our motivation. And
absolutely,
we will never pigeonhole ourselves to one niche of history. If anybody finds inspiration in the person, I think they fit into our lineup. I would die to do anything with like Janis Joplin or somebody. With those, you got to have money. It's more of a pay to play, I think.
Right. And that was going to be my question, because I mean, I'm learning so much from you. First of all, you're the first person I ever met that did this kind of business. I think it's brilliant. So how does it work? Like I have friends that are designers, so they license, right? They can license names for clothing lines. Does this work the same way?
Pretty, it's similar. Like, for example, some deals, like Ella Fitzgerald is working with a licensing company. However, her foundation was fully on board. In particular, there's no licensing company who represents Kara or Mamie or Ava Gardner. It's more making the connection with the families and
so you've had to directly cold call the I mean, like do you dial 411? How do you go about that's amazing. No, this is Google. This is deep Google.
A lot of it is having, it was the first 3 when I launched with my first original trio. I spent 9 months online marketing them, just making genuine connections with people, talking about the legacies and learning what fans want to see.
Right.
And through that research, we actually, Laura Stalker, who is associated with the Ava Gardner Trust, she messaged me and said, I would love to see something done with Ava Gardner in this lineup. Let me put you in touch with Ava Thompson, who's Ava's great niece and the co-head of the trust. And so it just became when people find that we genuinely care, they're more willing and excited to make introductions, because it's very much like Hollywood, like entertainment. Absolutely. It's a who you know. So the only ones that I've really cold called myself and fought for, which it wasn't really even a fight. It was just, we had a meeting. I laid it all out on the table. I was like, I'm not made of money. I can't really treat you and wine and dine you, but I'm into this idea and I love the legacy. Mary Pickford.
Love it.
I had a friend who put me in touch with Mamie Van Doren, thank God. But Mary Pickford, I cold called. I was like, I love Mary Pickford. I would absolutely love to see her make a comeback in 2023 is when we launched her. And then I cold messaged David Arquette, or not David Arquette, but Bozo the Clown. I didn't know David Arquette was the head of that.
You know what? I didn't know that either. Go figure, you know?
I know. I was just like, absolutely.
That's a really great piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Right.
So I fought for Bozo and I fought for Mary Pickford, and David messaged me back from his own page. He's like, I got your message. I was like, what? I was so confused. But it was so great. And so luckily I've had a friend, Gary Sweeney, with the Joan Crawford estate, and he has just, he made the connection between me and Mamie Van Doren, and it was so kind of him. And he also introduced me to Sarah Karloff, which is Boris Karloff's daughter.
Right. Who I actually met at the Black Bear Film Festival in Milford, Pennsylvania, where my friend John DeLeo, who wrote all those books about classic movie stars, he was there doing the interviews. So even while we're talking, it's all 6 degrees of separation. But you really amaze me the way you connect the dots. Okay. And here we are, right? And you've mentioned Mamie Van Doren a couple of times. It's Women's History Month. Who better than to launch this month but Mamie Van Doren? Let's look at her coffee. There we go. Oh, and gorgeous. Wow.
This is the Starlet Blend.
Of course it is.
We actually just sold out of this one yesterday. Batch 2 is on its way. It's coming. It'll be here within a week and a half. But yes, we did 2 coffees together. The Starlet Blend and the Girl Who Invented Rock and Roll Blend.
Amazing.
Mamie herself has tried so many different coffee concoctions and ideas. These 2 are the ones she landed on. She drinks so much coffee.
No, really, because like it's, she's legacy, but it also helps to have that kind of input.
It was so great to get her actual her opinions and her taste and what she actually wanted out of coffee. And we landed on chocolate raspberry.
Oh my God, I'm a chocolate raspberry person.
This is the Starlet Blend. She's gone through, I joked with my roaster, I was like, we need to just make her a 5-pound bag because she goes through 2 bags every month.
Wow.
of each one.
That's me. And how much coffee is in each bag?
They're your standard 12-ounce ground.
It's 12 ounce, yeah.
So,
and she does 2 bags a month, so that's 24 ounces.
So she'll go through 4 bags a month because it's 2 bags of each.
Oh, right. So that's like 40. And I'm not good at math.
I know, I'm not either. I failed.
48 ounces of coffee a month.
Something even more, because she also adds our Harvey Brownstone coffee.
Well, Harvey Brownstone, of course, right. Harvey has his own blend. He's been on this show. So she also partakes in Harvey Brownstone's coffee.
Yes. That's her favorite standard unflavored coffee. She very much drinks a lot of coffee. Like me, I think it's so great. She actually enjoys it, and that's what's important. Is she put her name on something that she likes.
Right.
It's not just putting your name on any old Folgers in a repackaged.
Absolutely. And Mamie Van Doren is just such legacy. I mean, you drop her name, everybody knows her. This is a woman, by the way, who has never stopped working. Exactly. And now I'm thinking, maybe I need to up my coffee if I want to be like her. That's why I was doing this calculation while you're talking. I'm like, well, she's been moving and shaking for decades, and with all that coffee, maybe we all need to up the amount of coffee that we're drinking. I think coffee is a really great organic coffees, right? And yours are organic, pure blends. I think they're very healthy for people, for our bodies.
Oh, I swear by coffee. It's what keeps me alive. I will sometimes, I'll drink coffee all day long. I have some currently until like 6 p.m. I'll have coffee in my cup.
Wow. Well, you are a serious coffee drinker. Now, when people order your coffee, it comes as beans, or can they get it ground? Or I have a grinder. Do they have to grind it themselves?
For now, you can email and get a whole bean if you want it from me. But our website is standard ground. Just for convenience for most people. It's the most commonly way to buy. It is,
but there's nothing, and you know what I'm going to say next. When you're grinding those beans themselves, oh, it's heavenly. There's nothing like that smell.
And we can put whole beans in the bags and fill them that way. And I just ask that people email me, just because when you put them, we need to restructure our shop so that way we have options, but it's becoming to where you got to scroll all over the place to find what one you want. So it was just easier to just do ground for everybody on the website. Yeah, of course. And it was we're still a new company. So it was me kind of testing the waters to see what sells. And so that way I don't overwhelm our shop, the market, and the customers.
Exactly. Now, Dominique, your company is online. Am I correct?
Yes.
It's an online company. Mm-hmm. So without divulging too much, what's the plan? Do you plan on, putting your coffee in select places, like some places even in Hollywood, where people come to get memorabilia? It's like it really is a perfect gift.
Oh, I agree. So we purposely started online because it was the pandemic, and it was easier to just say coffee shipped to your door. You don't have to go to the grocery store for it. I would absolutely love, I actually took a trip out to LA in January where I just went into every single place on the boulevard and said, hi, my name's Dominique. Here's a bag of coffee. We'd love to do something. Because I want to see our coffee in those souvenir shops too.
Yeah.
I want to see it in the best ones. I don't want to see it in the creepy ones.
No, we don't want it in the creepy. No, it's in the best ones where you really buy high quality things. But, for somebody that goes out to LA and goes to Grauman's Chinese Theater, or, does any of the Hollywood tours, what a wonderful way to end it, having this very, very special coffee.
We actually, starting, I believe this week or next week, we'll be in a shop in Burbank, a lovely boutique on, they're called Bell Cottage. She's in Magnolia Park, that little vintagey area where it's a bunch of vintage shops. And
see, I don't even know Magnolia Park, but already on the name of it, like this coffee in Magnolia Park, it's like, yes, I want to go there.
So she's my first Burbank stockist, and I love her. She was just like, I like you, and so I'll stock your coffee.
That's so cool.
So we'll be in there. I just shipped her a box, but that's our first kind of Hollywood area stockist. We're hoping to get more. I'm going back in April, so we'll see. But it's a lot of legwork, making sure you're meeting the right people and.
You know what? I'm very impressed. It's basically been, we're in 2024, and I think you got this rocking and rolling for real in 2022.
Yeah.
Is what you said. That's 2 years. That's like no time at all. And I'm really impressed with the amount of headway that you've made. And I mean, even for me, I'm a visionary in my own life, but while you're talking about this coffee, the potential here is so huge. I mean, the areas that you can move into, movie stars, which you are, and we talked about musicians, cartoon characters, huge.
Yeah.
You can have, my God, like the Muppets.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to start their day with a Muppet? You couldn't have a bad day if you started with a Muppet.
I agree. I think it's also the possibilities are endless. I think any route you could go is a positive one.
Right.
Just because you're introducing it to new people, you're finding out stories that you may not have known before. I love telling people, like, when even if they're not into like films or anybody like that in our lineup, I love just saying, read the back of the bag, look at our website and learn something, because you're going to find somebody who came from nothing and became everything to somebody.
Right. Tell me, what about that really appeals to you, the coming from nowhere and becoming somebody?
I don't know. I mean, I'm from the literal middle of nowhere, a town of 2,000 people. And I don't really care. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. I've got to preface it with that. Everybody has their own path in their own life, but right. I didn't like the whole, you graduate at 18, you get married at 19, you have a kid at 20, boom, boom, boom. And then that's it. Your life is set. That's scary to me because you got at least like 60 to 80 more years after that. Pace yourself.
So I had a reason for asking you that, because in many ways your product mirrors who you are.
Well,
you're the girl that left the small town because you had to. I bet if I come to your town and interview a lot of the people there, they were plug happy to get married after high school and have kids and have a house with a picket fence, and that's like a lot of America. But where people really get off, it's the fantasy. And with your coffee, you're taking something that's normal, right? Because people drink coffee, but you're also selling them the fantasy, okay? They're never going to be the person on that bag, but they sure can read about the person on that bag, and they can connect to where that person might have come from. And whether that was your intention or not, that's exactly what you're doing. And I think it is just so brilliant. What a wonderful way to reach people. Please go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I hope it inspires other people to do the same. That's to kind of dream bigger and go do more. And
that is dreaming bigger. And then, your whole give back thing. Can we talk about, who you donate to and why, and how you've connected that to your coffee?
So I kind of started to explain with Joan Crawford in particular. We began a relationship with Hounds and Pounds. Again, this was through a mutual connection. Somebody introduced me to the founder. Ironically, her name is Kat, and she runs a dog rescue.
I love that.
And I hopped on a phone call with her, started learning everything I could. I went through their website and like social medias, did a whole deep dive to make sure it's a quality organization. This organization rescues dogs from even other shelters and rescues who maybe like the cases are so severe that the rescues don't want anything to do with them.
Right, of course.
This rescue absolutely takes on any like the most extreme cases of like I don't even want to talk about how brutal it gets, but I've seen photos Like, people are horrible to animals, and
Yeah, they are.
I absolutely adore animals, so it was a no-brainer to set up a couple of our coffees to donate to them. Mamie Van Doren donates to them, both of her blends.
Wow.
And she actually put it into our contract that the dog rescue makes equal to what she does off of each bag.
So incredible. Wow.
She's very passionate. I love her passion for the dogs. I think that's even more why we align so perfectly. Joan Crawford's Unchained blend donates to the dogs. Our Harold Lloyd coffee donates to the dogs, who's just a silent era comedian who I think more people need to know about.
Well, because of you now, and the Hounds and Pounds. If you didn't tell me, I know a lot of rescue organizations because I'm an animal person too. But the fact that they take the most hopeless cases, that's a really beautiful thing. I can't think of a better organization, right, to donate to. Where are they? Where is Hounds and Pounds based out of?
She's actually out of your area. She's in the Northeast. They're across the entire Northeast, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. I don't know if Massachusetts. I don't know, the whole Northeast.
The Northeast. Wow.
The cluster of states. And in Georgia. They'll sometimes transport rescues from Georgia.
I knew you were going to say that, because I was going to say, unfortunately, and I know a lot about animal rescue up here, a lot of the wonderful dogs that people I know have adopted have come from shelters in the South.
Yeah.
That's why so many of them are like houndy kind of dogs. They're dumped in the streets. The amount of dogs up here from Mississippi is mind-boggling. So Hounds and Pounds gets them probably from Georgia and other places in the South, and then places them in homes up here.
They have partners.
Yes,
partner shelters. The way they do it is they're foster based. So instead of having like a line of cages for these dogs to lay in and look at concrete walls, each dog goes to a foster. And that foster is fully vetted. That foster is set up with food and everything the dog could need to their standards. These are very, very well researched, well equipped fosters who just care for the dogs, and they go through training. They have all the vet care they need. They are fully prepared for their next phase with a new family with this organization. And it's really important. I think they're such an important piece of society currently, because so many people are cruel to animals, and I don't understand why. There's no reason for it.
Right. But when people are cruel to animals, it's not reasoning. It's a lack of respect for other living things. Right. And the same way, like we feel deep. This is terrible, and I have a child. Well, she's 31 now, but till I had a child, I never looked at babies. And even I only looked at dogs walking down the street. Okay, I'm going to confess. Even after I had a child, I loved my child, but I only looked at dogs in the street. I never looked at other babies.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge baby lover.
What is it about dogs that like tears at our hearts? I know what it is. It's the non-judgmental, pure love and the commitment that no matter what, and this is with what you're saying about when people are cruel to animals, how could they be? Because no matter what you do to them, they'll still love you.
Exactly.
They don't process it. It's incredible. They process it in fear, right? You can spot a lot of rescues sometimes because of fear, how their body language is or whatever. Mm-hmm. But look at who you're working with. Hounds and Pounds is, getting wonderful foster care. And Mamie Van Doren, part of this coffee with your name on it is going to help these wonderful animals. Thank you. That is really, really, really amazing. It's incredible what you've been able to do in 2 years, Dominique. I have to tell you.
Thank you.
So, what's the plan going forward? This your potential, and this is huge, and I'm sure everybody tells you that.
I don't know. And I like that. I like having an open-ended plan. I do know I'm kind of trying to dive more into the lesser known / the silent era for a moment in
I love this
2024.
Yeah.
Just I would like to see more eyes on the lesser known, and really just dive into teaching people about them.
Yeah.
I'll be in LA in April and kind of learning more. I mean, just learning about more opportunities that are out there. I would love to see a classic rock musician get in on this. I would love it. I don't know. We'll manifest it.
Well, yeah, no, I know. I think you do a lot of manifesting. The more we talk, I'm sure that's how it happens. So, all right, I'm going to throw one out there to manifest. What about Elvis?
Oh, dream.
Elvis, let's you and I together here on If These Walls Could Talk manifest, because that would actually be a wonderfully selling coffee. And I mean, it's Elvis, you know,
he's the king.
So amazing. John Lennon, right?
Absolutely. I would love Mick Jagger is still alive. He's still kicking. I'm manifesting him and Keith Richards so bad.
You know what? Like listening to you, I imagine your phone is just going to be ringing off the wall, because from a marketing point of view, I think it's totally brilliant from a marketing point of view, right?
I think it's, I think it's a great idea. I can't believe more people haven't thought of it. There are so many signature products out there where it's just putting the signature on a cheap, easily produced, mass produced something that you can get made for $5 and sell for 50. And that's not what we are. We are very much quality, and quality is so important. And I do get that the expense of setting this whole thing up and producing was what stopped a lot of people from making this idea happen, because I'm certain there's other ideas similar.
Right.
But yeah, I think putting quality, affordable and quality into somebody's home and in their hands and accessible is so important. And matching the icons to this product is just a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you have another organization that you work with too, Healthy Humor.
Yeah.
What are they about?
So the Bows of the Clown Coffee supports Healthy Humor, and they are an entertainment organization where they send entertainers, performers, clowns, etc., to children's hospitals to kind of bump the morale, and because laughter is the best medicine, and really just spread the joy in somewhere where it's not typically a very happy place.
Wow.
And I agree in fully. Laughter is the best medicine. You could take pills all day long, but a good laugh is not going to make you a good laugh will be untouchable. It's going to make you feel so much better.
How about a good laugh with a good cup of coffee?
Exactly.
It doesn't get any better than that. Now we have a bunch of comments, and okay. So Laurie Towers, this show gives us a pause on chaos. Thank you, Laurie. Indeed it does. My amazing friend Lisa Jenkins, who's going to be on my other show tonight, who just helped form an organization, a democratic organization for the LGBTQ community. I love Lisa to death. She's one of the most brilliant women I've met. She is a Cafe Bustelo person. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Cheap coffee girls over here. No, but Dominique, I'm going to be getting some of your coffee. I'm definitely ordering some. My lovely B Claudia tuned in from Germany. They know a good cup of coffee over there. B Claudia, this coffee is not in Germany yet, but you know what? It should be, right?
Absolutely. And I can ship to Germany.
You can. Okay. This is great. I love you sharing this, Dominique. All right. And Laurie Towers, Dominique does for coffee what TCM does for wine pairing. Yes, indeed, Laurie. That is the God's honest truth. And Suze GX, who is an amazing designer out of Boston, Massachusetts, but she works all over. She lives for coffee. Don't we all? And Laurie Towers reminded me that you have a fabulous interview this month in Red Silk Carpet magazine. You rocked out your interview, and a shout out to Jules at Red Silk Carpet magazine. I was in last month's issue.
Yay!
Jules is another entrepreneur, and Red Silk Carpet magazine is absolutely fabulous. Jules writes one hell of a story and really finds very interesting people, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And we're talking about Women's History Month. Let's talk about that. We need to lift each other up.
Absolutely. Supporting other creators and small businesses, and it's so important. And I was speaking with somebody recently. It's funny, the people in your circle, you'll notice who your real friends are, because when you start doing something that's insane or crazy or creative, you'll definitely narrow down your circle, because you'll see who's supporting and who's not.
Absolutely.
So you really find out who your real friends are, and I think that's good. And you'll find that strangers are your biggest supporters. And
but strangers often, so what I found, what happened for me during the pandemic, I still have 5 amazing friends that I knew before, but something incredible happened to me because of the pandemic. Right before it hit, I met a whole group of people. Like, we're talking like literally 25 people that I didn't know before. They're all in my life now. They're all in my life in a huge way. Tym Moss, my co-host, who is in Paris right now, I didn't know Tim before. All right. But when you start to surround yourself, when you put it out into the universe that you want the people that are going to support you to be in your life, isn't it amazing, Dominique, who shows up?
Yeah, it is. We've made new friends. We've cut out the ones who don't care, and kind of cultivated your own little dream circle. And that's right. And now you have the people who you'll support no matter what.
Exactly.
And it's funny. You can basically create your little own self-sustaining environment. You'll have the creators who do the foods and the beverages. You'll have the creators who do the clothes and the jewelry and the home decor, and you'll just have a whole circle of artists and creators, and it's fun. Everybody supports everybody, and your entire life will be supporting your friends and the creators you admire.
It's funny because you've gotten that lesson early on. It took me a long time to learn that lesson, but you know what? At least I learned it in this lifetime. But yeah, that is a really, really important thing. And as I told my daughter the other day when she was talking about getting more community, getting support, not finding it in some of the people she already knew, I said, learn at a young age. You have to, it doesn't mean you stop being friends with them, but you have to let them go. They kind of get pushed on another list. And then it's really important to have those pathways open up. You're a prime example of it. You took nothing, an idea.
Yeah.
And here you were, like, your world was rocked by the pandemic, as mine was. You know, not everybody's world was rocked. There were people that kept their jobs and even seemed to make more money. But there were those of us that had to start from the beginning, and you wake up and you're like, WTF, what the hell is going on? I mean, none of us had this in our game plan. But you know what it did? It gave us the kick in the butt to say, I'm going to try something totally new. And that's exactly what you did.
Without the coffee, I don't know what I would have done. Because nothing else really interests me beyond my music work and this. Like, I don't know. I would not have been a waitress. That's for sure.
In a small town in Arkansas, you absolutely would have, and you wouldn't have been working at Starbucks or Walmart either. I can tell you that. You would dance to your own drum no matter what. And I think that's what we're talking about here. You know, people that dance to their own drum, follow their heart, and follow their passion. I have to ask you something, though, as an entrepreneur, and it's something I've experienced myself. Did you ever at any point get fear about taking risks?
No. I've never been scared of that.
You're not scared of that. God bless you.
No. I literally am the type of person, my first sort of little taste of touring, I flew to Chicago and met up with a literal group of strange men and said, hey, I'm going to live with you for a week. and we lived together for a week, basically.
So you flew to Chicago, you met a bunch of strange men, you lived with them for a week, and we're talking about it during Women's History Month. Think about that.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there somewhere. But yeah, okay, so you're fearless. That's a big help when you're somebody that's going to take risks, you know?
I'm more scared of having to be stuck in something that's boring.
Yeah, I know. I hear you loud and clear about that. And honestly, I never have been, and neither will you. You are just a total and complete inspiration and delight. And, no pressure, but I'm going to ask the next question. When can we expect your book on all of this? Because we need to have the book.
I'd be quicker to write a book about all the ghost activity that happens near me. I think I'm haunted, but that's a whole other thing.
Okay, you should not have gone down that rabbit hole with me. That is what I'm known for. Yes, I talk to dead people, and where I broadcast from Pangea, the owners here will tell. This is so filled with spirits, which is how I ended up doing the show from here. I could have done this show from anywhere. It had to be here because a lot of great people I knew that performed here that are not with us anymore, one in particular, brought me into this space during the pandemic, Dominique. That's when it started. Because yes, I too have all of these ghosts. I don't, how does this happen? And yeah, that's a whole other show. So, okay, you know what? When the book gets written, this is what we're going to do. This is a plan. When, when the book gets written, we'll talk about how ghosts influenced our life, how you built your business, where we are now. And yeah, we'll totally have you come back on this show. That would be so great. I have a couple more comments. We have Lori Towers. Oh, you were brilliant in there too. She must be referring to Red Silk Carpet Magazine. Thank you, Lori Towers. Lori Towers, by the way, makes a lot of incredible things happen. Besides being an amazing PR person, she's one. I didn't know her before. Sent to me, during the pandemic, from the universe, an amazing human being. I find, and you find this, I'm sure, Dominique, people that rescue animals, that love animals, are in our circle.
Absolutely. It shows you care and
right.
That you understand. I don't know. I love animals, and anybody who loves animals is good in my book.
Absolutely. Now, before we say goodbye, can you get your new puppy to come on camera? You shouldn't have told me about your puppy.
Let's see.
I always like to bring people's dogs on camera. I don't know. It just says so much about the person. And Dominique went to get her dog. Oh, look at the muffin.
She's fascinated with a teething ring right now.
Yeah, of course.
Her name is Mitzi.
No meaning to her. What's her name?
Her name is Mitzi.
Mitzi, of course. Oh my God. A bag of coffee named Mitzi, the Mitzi blend. Yes.
She is actually, I dog sit her every day during the week. She is my mom's puppy.
How cute.
And she's a little doll. I have a cat, and she's almost 11.
Wow.
She's not friendly to anybody but me, and that's why I love her.
That's really funny, right? She only has eyes for you. Yeah. Well, listen, animals know. Dominique, this has been so terrific having you on the show. Thank you. Wishing you incredible health, luck, wealth, happiness, and keep doing what you're doing because you're really making a mark out there. I think I'm going to go get a cup of coffee after this. Now you got me going. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to If These Walls Could Talk. And next week, Tym Moss, the co-host, will be back from Gay Paris, I'm sure, with stories. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Okay.